To outsiders, it looked like I had been chasing after Ethan Carter for 3 years, always failing. But only he and I knew, we had been secretly in love for those 3 years. At the party, someone asked me, if you never catch up with Ethan Carter, do you plan to stay single for the rest of your life? Even Ethan chuckled and said, I know a lot of people, want me to introduce someone for fun? In my previous life, that day, I got frustrated and revealed our relationship in front of everyone. The transfer student, Lily Monroe, burst into tears and ran out. Ethan didn't say anything in public, but in private, he grew more and more distant. After we got married, when I was pregnant and got into a car accident, I was rushed into emergency surgery. He was in Santa Barbara on vacation with Lily. When I was cremated, both mother and unborn child gone, he was hosting a birthday dinner for Lily at a Michelin-starred restaurant. Only then did I realize, he never loved me. This time around, I came back. I smiled and said, no need anymore. I'm already engaged. The room went silent. Almost instinctively, everyone turned toward Ethan. He leaned back on the sofa, his muscles tensing for a moment before he smirked and said, good. That way you won't be hanging around me anymore, making things uncomfortable. I just smiled faintly, not replying. The mood turned awkward. Our friends tried to lighten things up. Alright, let's keep the game going. Ethan, it's your turn. The challenge, choose someone of the opposite sex and kiss them for 30 seconds. It was supposed to be a flirty game, something to make everyone laugh. But the room went quiet, there were only 2 women there. Me, and Lily Monroe. Everyone knew that ever since Lily transferred in, we hadn't gotten along. One of the hosts laughed nervously. Ethan, how about just a drink instead? Ethan stubbed out his cigarette, then without hesitation, turned and cupped the back of Lily's neck, kissing her square on the lips. Lily squealed like a startled deer, then shyly closed her eyes. When it ended, Ethan leaned back onto the sofa again, eyes still on me. It's just a game. It's not like I wouldn't dare play. Everyone laughed and cheered. My friend sitting next to me gave me a look of sympathy. I was about to say something when my phone buzzed. A text message, are you home yet? Seeing that, I stood up and said to everyone, I've got something to take care of. I'll head out first. Without another word, I left the VIP room. After all, I'm someone who came back to life just a month ago. The first thing I did after coming back was break up with Ethan Carter, accepting the arrangement of my family to get engaged to William Hughes, the son of a prominent family in San Francisco. In my previous life, my family had arranged my engagement to him too, but at that time, I was wholeheartedly in love with Ethan, so I refused without hesitation. But when I died on the operating table, Ethan was traveling around the world with Lily Monroe. Even my body was taken in by William, and I looked down at the message from him, are you home yet? I'm getting ready to come over in a few days for your birthday gift. Then my phone buzzed a few more times. It was a message from Ethan. What's wrong? Couldn't take it and leave me now? Didn't you once say you were strong, and that you were engaged just to make me angry? My eyes lingered on 2 previous messages. A month ago, I had sent a breakup text to Ethan, and he hadn't replied. I closed my eyes, not responding, and put my phone away. It was raining heavily by the side of the road. I had called a ride to pick me up. Sorry, there's something going on here in San Francisco, so I can't come pick you up myself. I smiled and replied, it's fine, just focus on your work. The Hughes family had great influence, and the birthday party for Mr. Hughes would be grand. Initially, William had planned to pick out the gift on my behalf, but to show my sincerity, I wanted to choose it myself. When the video call connected, a handsome face appeared on my phone screen. He was dressed in black, with a sharp nose and deep, dark eyes. Under the lights, his thin lips were delicate, and his features were sharp. William's voice didn't quite match his appearance. Though he looked cold, he spoke softly. I showed him the gifts I had chosen according to Mr. Hughes' tastes, and he was very patient. We had been talking for more than an hour, though I hadn't realized how long. When the conversation ended, he said, "Vicky, I'll send someone to pick you up this weekend." I nodded and replied, "All right," then ended the call and went to wash my face and brush my teeth. When I came back to my bed, I picked up my phone and saw a message from my friend. "Vicky, are you all right? We were planning to set you up with Ethan, but look how things turned out." I replied with a happy emoji, signaling that I was really fine. Then I thought for a moment and sent another message. "I'm really engaged now. I won't have anything to do with Ethan anymore." My friend replied after a long pause, "It's good that you can let go." I smiled, closed the chat, and scrolled through my social feed. The latest post was from Ethan, introducing everyone to my new girlfriend, the youngest. Love her the most. Attached was a picture of Ethan and Lily together. The tone, the writing style, and the emoji were clearly not from Ethan himself. It was probably a joke. For 3 years, he had never let me touch his phone, let alone post anything on it. But now, it no longer matters to me. I turned off my phone, and not long after, I drifted off to sleep. But I was woken by the sound of the phone ringing. I squinted, fumbled to pick it up, and immediately heard Ethan's voice on the other end. "Hey, I'm drunk. Come pick me up." I became fully alert, muttering an expletive under my breath. I should block him right away. When I didn't reply, Ethan laughed, still mad at her. "Huh? You saw the social media post, didn't you?" "Yeah, I'm kidding. I'll delete it in 3 days." I responded coldly, "It has nothing to do with me." I don't know what I said, but it seemed to touch a nerve with him. His laugh deepened. All right. Don't be mad anymore. Tomorrow, I'll bring you the little steamed buns from Chinatown you love. Make sure you're hungry, okay?" Hearing him say okay made me furious. I hung up, blocked his number, turned off my phone, and went back to sleep. The next morning, I went to class. Lily Monroe was sitting at the breakfast table. When she saw me, she smiled, then turned to Ethan, who was sleeping with his head down at the table next to her. "Ethan, thank you for going to Chinatown this morning to get my steamed buns. I'm really happy." Ethan lifted his eyelids. "If you like it," but before he could finish, he noticed me. He stopped talking. I didn't bother looking at them. I walked past and sat down to start reading my book. When class ended, I went to the bathroom, only to be stopped by Ethan at the corner of the wall. "Hey, this morning, Lily said she had a stomachache. So?" I cut him off, nodding and trying to walk away. Ethan frowned and grabbed my wrist. "Why are you being so stingy? If it were you and one of our classmates was sick, I'd do the same for them." I yanked my hand away, smiling in disdain. This had happened many times before. Lily always came up with some excuse to steal the things Ethan promised to give me. She was innocent and pure, her nature as gentle as water. Every time, she would apologize with red eyes, "I'm sorry, it's my fault." Compared to her, I was childish, hot-tempered, and liked to pick unnecessary fights. Ethan sighed and casually said, "Don't be mad anymore. Next weekend, I'll take you to another city, we'll eat together and watch a movie." In the past, whenever Ethan and I had a big argument, he would do the same thing. He wouldn't apologize or try to resolve the conflict. He would just take me out to eat or watch a movie, and everything would smooth over again. I didn't care and walked straight ahead. The next morning, when I woke up, William's car was already parked downstairs. I was a bit surprised, as they hadn't planned to wake me up. I was about to say something when I received a message from Ethan. This time, he used a new number. "Hey, I won't be able to take you to the movies this weekend, I've got something urgent. Be good, take care of yourself, eat well, or I'll spank you. Also, send me your husband's number." Ethan's words made me feel uncomfortable, and I almost threw up. It was a gloomy morning already. I thought if I had time, I should probably switch to a new SIM card. 3 hours later, we landed in San Francisco. As soon as we arrived, William's mother was there to greet us. She and my mom had been close friends since childhood. Later, one lived in New York, and the other married and moved to San Francisco. Although they lived far apart, their bond remained strong. William's mother cheerfully took my hand, looking around. "Where has my troublesome son gone?" The butler replied, "Young master was waiting for Miss, but Mr. Hughes called him away for something." Her way of speaking made me feel a little awkward. William's mother laughed and said, "This kid, always so busy. Vicky, let me take you out for a bit." I hesitated. I looked down at my phone. William had just texted, "Wait for me, I'll be there soon." I replied, "Okay." William's mother held my hand and introduced me to the guests at the party. She proudly told everyone, "This is my daughter-in-law, Vicky. Isn't she beautiful?" She went on to chat with Mrs. Lee, saying, "Your son still hasn't found someone? Look at my daughter-in-law here. Maybe you'd like to come to our wedding?" After a few rounds of these conversations, I felt overwhelmed. Luckily, there were many guests today, so William's mother was busy. She left, and the butler stayed with me. "Miss, the garden outside has many flowers you like. Would you like to go take a look?" I was a little surprised. "I like them?" The butler smiled and nodded. "Yes, young master prepared them a month ago. We've learned about your preferences." I was shocked. I was so stunned I didn't even know how to respond. At least I didn't know much about William, but he had clearly researched my preferences. "Thank you, Mr. Tong. I'll go take a look." I walked to the garden, and as the butler said, all the flowers were the ones I liked. As I was admiring them, I suddenly heard a familiar voice ahead. "Vicky, what are you doing here?" I lifted my head and saw Lily Monroe standing there, looking shocked. Beside her was Ethan Carter, the one who had texted me saying he had urgent business this weekend. When Ethan saw me, he was also taken aback. He quickly walked up to me and asked, "Why are you here?" Behind him, Lily tugged at his sleeve and quietly said to me, "Vicky, I didn't expect you to secretly follow us here. Don't blame Ethan, he originally planned to bring you here. But you know, my family's not well off, and I've never been to another city. Ethan is kind-hearted and wanted to show me the world. Sorry, don't be mad at Ethan, if anyone should be blamed, it's me." After saying that, Lily's eyes turned red. It was the same script as before. Ethan grabbed my hand. "Since you've secretly followed us, just stand behind me and behave. Don't run off, today is a very important occasion." The feeling of Ethan touching me disgusted me deeply. But now, in William's house, with so many guests, I didn't want to argue. I quickly yanked my hand away. Ethan frowned. "Vicky, stop sulking." I was a little annoyed. I stopped and turned back to look at him. I was about to say something when the butler and a few bodyguards approached. I was slightly surprised. Mr. Tong and the bodyguards quickly stopped Ethan and Lily and ushered them out. The butler smiled at me. "Miss, if you have anything to say, don't worry. We're here to make sure no one bothers you. Young master is waiting for you." When I turned, I was met with a deep, dark gaze. This was the first time I saw William in person. He was even more handsome than in the videos. His sharp-cut suit made his broad shoulders stand out, his waist slim, and the black pants accentuated his long, straight legs. In our previous engagement, it was William and I who agreed, and our elders were happy to arrange everything over the phone. "Vicky," William stepped forward. I thought there would be some awkwardness when we met, but he was completely at ease and took my hand. His voice was gentle, just like in the video. "Are you hungry? Let me take you out for a bite. After flying for several hours, you must be starving." William took me to his family's restaurant, where the table was filled with all my favorite dishes. That surprised me. William sat beside me, patiently peeling shrimp for me while wearing gloves. Each movement was delicate and elegant, making me feel a little embarrassed. I chatted with William's elders during the meal, and by the end of the party, the gifts filled 5 suitcases. William took me back to New York. When we were about to part ways, I thought for a moment and asked him, William, how did you know my preferences? From flowers to food to the gifts. William smiled when he heard that. His gaze turned serious. I've always known. But I don't even know what you like yet. He smiled and added, there's plenty of time. You'll find out in the future. Hearing that, I nodded and replied. It was late already, but William still had some business to attend to. After parting ways, I went upstairs and saw Ethan standing at the door. I didn't know how long he had been waiting. When he saw me, his face was full of anger. Vicky, where have you been? I coldly responded, what's it to you? He seemed to sneer in anger. What's it to me? Do you even remember I was your boyfriend? I scoffed, oh, your girlfriend was never me, I broke up with you a month ago. Ethan looked a little awkward, but then he grabbed my wrist. Come with me now, we need to go apologize to Lily. I didn't move, and he got angrier. I didn't expect you to have a relative working at William's place. It's fine that you secretly followed me to San Francisco, but then you let your relative, Mr. Tong, throw Lily and me out in front of everyone. Do you know how much Lily's pride was hurt? She's sensitive and fragile, but very strong. Her pride was hurt so badly she wanted to drop out. When did you become so unreasonable? His words made me laugh uncontrollably. I realized he misunderstood the relationship between me and the butler. In my previous life, I thought Lily didn't know about my relationship with Ethan, and she was also being deceived. But when I received a message from her just before I died, I found out she had known everything for a long time. What does this have to do with me? I didn't want to get entangled with Ethan anymore, so I opened the door and walked inside. Ethan stared at me for a long time before sneering and stepping back. Then he calmly said, Vicky, you're not bad. After saying that, he turned and left. The next morning, when I arrived at class, I noticed my classmates were looking at me with sympathetic eyes. I was a little confused, but when I looked at the desk, everyone had a lot of candy. There was even more on my desk. My friend, Lucy, walked over with a complicated expression and said, This is the wedding candy for Ethan and Lily. I nodded, signaling I understood. Lucy looked at me and opened her mouth a few times, but in the end, she didn't say anything. A few days later, she came to me, holding her phone with an angry look on her face, showing me a picture from social media. I heard Ethan and Lily took a half-month break and went overseas for a vacation. The photo was of the two of them. Lily was linking arms with Ethan, smiling brightly, while he had his hand on her head. Lucy spoke for me, You've been chasing Ethan for 3 years and couldn't make it, but Lily moved here for just 2 months and... I kept my eyes on the book in front of me and didn't look up. I've told you many times, he has nothing to do with me anymore. Lucy sighed and said, Well, I guess you two just weren't meant to be. After saying that, she patted my shoulder. Let's hang out tonight after class. I had already booked a private room at the NYC Club. I didn't refuse and nodded in agreement. Lucy skipped a class and went ahead of me. I waited until the end of school to head over. When I arrived, there were already people sitting in the private room. In the corner, Ethan and Lily Monroe were sitting together. Lucy quickly grabbed my hand and pulled me into the room, shouting, Ethan, look who's here. I stiffened my face. Ethan leaned back on the sofa, smirking and looking at me with a mix of mockery and challenge. I turned to look at Lucy, but she avoided my gaze while still encouraging me. Vicky, sit next to Ethan. There's an empty seat. I didn't say anything, I just silently stared at her. Since the beginning of school, Lucy and I had become friends, often going to school, eating together, and hanging out during breaks. I truly considered her a friend. Ethan stood up from the sofa, casually draping an arm around Lily's shoulder, then lowered his head to lift her chin, saying, Let's go. You want to have dessert at the restaurant tonight, right? I'll take you to buy it now. Lily blushed and nodded obediently. As they walked past me, Lily turned around and smiled triumphantly at me. That smile, even Lucy noticed. She angrily said, "Vicky, did you see that? How arrogant is she?" I didn't say anything, just calmly stared at her. Lucy bit her lip and said, "I really don't like Lily, and I'm definitely speaking up for you. How could she act like she's better than you?" I replied, "Don't hang out with her anymore." When I stepped out of the club, Ethan was standing alone by the door, smoking a cigarette. When he saw me, he put out the cigarette and blocked my path. He smiled, "You've been persistent this time, breaking your own record. But why are you so thick-skinned now? You didn't come to me directly, but asked your friend to help." There were times when Ethan and I were distant over the past 3 years. But each time, when he was cold toward me, I couldn't stand it and would always take the initiative to make up. Ethan smiled and reached out to pat my head. All right. After half a month, you must have thought about it and realized you were wrong." I tried to step away, but his hand stopped midair. Just then, Lily walked over with the dessert in her hands. She didn't say anything, just stood still, her eyes slightly red. Ethan looked at me, then at her, finally letting go of my hand. He said to me, "Vicky, go back first. I'll come find you tonight." After saying that, he walked over to Lily. Lily handed the dessert to Ethan, her voice timid. "Ethan, do you want to eat this?" As usual, Ethan would smile and tell Lily to feed him. But thinking about what had just happened with me, Ethan said, "Leave it for now, Lily. I'll delete the post on social media." Because Vicky had taken the initiative to lower herself, Ethan thought he should respond to her. After all, Vicky has been my girlfriend for 3 years. Lily's voice trembled as she replied, "Okay." After a moment, she continued, "Ethan, it's getting late. I'm afraid it's not safe to go back alone. Can you give me a ride home?" Ethan didn't refuse. That night, after washing up and getting into bed, I received a message from an unknown number. It was a photo. I opened it, and in the picture, Ethan and Lily Monroe were lying on the same bed, leaning against each other, asleep. "Vicky, Ethan is mine. You can't take him away." It didn't take much to guess who sent this message. I smiled, lowered my head, and replied, "Trash goes in the trash. You two make a great match." It seemed Lily wasn't satisfied. She sent another photo of the two of them in a different pose. "Stop pretending to be sweet, don't cry under the blanket." I rolled my eyes. Idiot. The next morning, I went to class. Not long after I sat down, Ethan sat right next to me. "Here's the dumplings you like." When he saw me looking at him, he slightly lifted his head. "What are you looking at? Are you touched? Eat it before it gets cold." Ethan always said things that made me feel disgusted. We used to sit at the same desk, but after Lily transferred, he used the excuse of helping the new student to switch seats and sit next to her. Now he was back here, and I didn't know what he wanted. But since the teacher had already started class and I didn't want to cause a disturbance, I decided to hold my ground. After class, I went to ask the teacher if I could switch seats. At the end of the school day, Ethan stopped me at the school gate. He frowned and asked, "Vicky, what are you doing? Why change seats?" I calmly looked at him and said, "If I want to switch, I don't need a reason." Ethan looked at me and then smiled. All right, don't be mad anymore. I wanted to come find you, but it got too late, and I didn't want to disturb you while you were asleep." After saying that, he pulled out his phone and showed it to me, as if bragging. "Look, I've deleted everything from social media now. You can look through my phone whenever you want. Is that okay?" He suddenly leaned down and lowered his voice to me, emphasizing the last part. I couldn't stand it, so I stepped back and, right in front of him, threw up. Ethan's face darkened. "Vicky." Just as he was about to say something, my phone rang. It was William. "Vicky, I'm standing outside your school gate." My eyes lit up. I looked around and saw a luxury black car parked nearby. I quickly walked over, the car started, and we drove out of the school gate. Sitting in the passenger seat, I thought for a moment and hesitated, then said to William, "He's my ex-boyfriend, but we've broken up." After I said that, I felt a little uneasy. William smiled, unfazed. "I know, I don't mind." He paused for a moment, then added, "Vicky, it's not that I don't care, but I care about you deeply. You're the one I've already decided will be my life partner." Looking into his serious eyes, I couldn't help but feel moved. My eyes reddened slightly, and I took a deep breath, gazing out the window. William didn't say anything, just tightened his grip on my hand. This time, William came with his parents. They would be staying in New York for a few days to host an additional engagement party for us. Both families had agreed that the engagement would take place in New York, and the wedding would be held in San Francisco. Right now, William was taking me out to eat, and the elders had already arrived at the restaurant. When we got there, I got out of the car and checked my phone, only to find many missed calls and messages. I furrowed my brows. This was the new number I had just switched to. The messages and calls were all from Ethan. "Vicky, whose car are you in?" "Vicky, pick up the phone. Don't make me angry." Ethan called again, but I turned off my phone, blocked his number, and turned on the Do Not Disturb mode for unknown numbers. William patiently waited for me, and when I was done, he gently took my hand and said, "Let's go." I didn't like the noise, so the engagement party was just a small gathering of close family members. After dinner, William's parents left, and he stayed in New York with me for a few days. As we were talking, I received several messages from friends and colleagues. "Vicky, I didn't know you were keeping it so secret. You've been with Ethan for so long. Oh my, I thought you were always single, but it turns out you've had him all along. Vicky, what's going on? Tell me, I'm dying to know." I furrowed my brows again and opened the screenshot a friend sent me. It was a post from Ethan on social media, publicly announcing that his girlfriend of 3 years was Vicky. I felt a wave of anger rising in me. I looked at William and asked, "Can we take a picture?" William didn't say anything. He pulled me close, took my phone, and snapped a photo. I then posted the picture on social media. Immediately, my profile was flooded with messages. Many friends were asking what had happened and what was true. I posted the screenshot of the breakup message with Ethan from a few months ago in the comments. When William and I got home, we found Ethan standing at the door. His eyes were bloodshot, his fist clenched tightly, staring at me in disbelief. "Vicky, how could you do this to me? Was it all a lie? I know you were upset because I canceled our dates a few times, but I won't do it anymore, okay? Vicky, don't listen to what others say to make me angry." He quickly walked up to me, reaching for my hand, but William stepped in to stop him. Ethan was tall, but in front of William, he was shorter by half a head. Ethan angrily raised his hand to push William, but I quickly slapped his face. "Ethan, can you stop making me disgusted? The atmosphere is quiet here. Go find someone else to make me angry. Your face is so big, don't you have any shame?" He didn't feel ashamed, but I was sick of him. I had broken up with him a long time ago, and we were no longer involved. I was engaged now, please stop bothering me. That scene made me unable to hold back a smile. In my previous life, I didn't want to let go, laughing at Ethan. After we got married, he became indifferent to me, and even when I was near death, he was out traveling with Lily Monroe. Now, I wanted nothing to do with him, yet he kept clinging to me. Does he really need to be this pathetic? Ethan stood still, saying nothing, but he didn't move his feet, watching as William and I entered the house. At that moment, he realized that I was truly done with him. Once something is lost, it can never be regained. The next few days were during the holiday, and William and I went on a short trip. When we returned, I heard news from a friend. Ethan and Lily had gotten engaged. Well, that's fine. In my previous life, Ethan always wanted to officially be with Lily, but because of me, they were never able to be together. This time, it seemed like things had worked out for them. My friend said, "You don't know, they've made a huge mess." I frowned. Made a mess? My friend nodded. You know, rumors spread quickly at school. Someone dug up something. While Ethan was with you, he would often go out with Lily, doing shady things. To clear up the suspicion with Lily, Ethan came forward to clarify that they were just friends. Before that, he said it was just a game he lost. I scoffed. My friend couldn't hold back a mocking laugh. Who's just friends but goes on overseas trips together? Oh, right, there are types of friends who are lovers. I smiled faintly. I have to admit, Ethan really is awful, but Lily is something else. On the surface, she agreed with his explanation that they were just friends, but then she went to the Trenton house with a pregnancy test. I remembered the photo Lily had sent me, with the two of them lying in bed together, leaning against each other, asleep. And the next day, Ethan was still pretending to be normal, trying to make up with me. I felt even more disgusted by him. My friend nodded. Of course, the Trenton family doesn't want this scandal to get out, so they immediately arranged for Ethan and Lily to get engaged. Finally, my friend added, good thing you stayed calm and broke up with him. When you were into him, I also wanted to warn you that Ethan isn't someone who takes relationships seriously. He's not suitable for marriage. Being clear-headed came after your past life. The following days were busy with graduation and the entrance exams for graduate school. But every weekend, William came to visit me. It was right on my birthday, and I almost forgot about it. William appeared before me, holding a birthday cake and flowers. But I realized I had never told him how he knew so much about me. William smiled gently. Maybe we share a telepathic connection. Is that true? I was still skeptical, but quietly asked William's mother about William. She said, actually, when you and William were little, you met each other. I was surprised. When was that? Why didn't I know? She smiled and replied, before you were 5, I brought William to your house. At that time, you kept screaming that you wanted to marry him because you thought he was handsome. I blushed. I really don't remember that. When I was 5, I fell into the water and had a high fever. When I woke up, I had forgotten everything before that. The last time I heard about Ethan and Lily was a few months later. I heard that Ethan had gone to prison. This news really shocked me. Right after I graduated, the Trenton family forced Ethan to marry Lily. After they got married, they often argued. Every time they fought, he would leave the house and go out drinking at bars. Over time, Lily couldn't take it anymore. She took their child and went to find him at the bar, trying to drag him back home. Ethan felt humiliated by Lily doing that in public, and during the struggle, he pushed her. Unfortunately, Lily's head hit the corner of a table, and she suffered a serious injury to her nerves and died on the spot. The Monroe family, having lost their daughter, obviously couldn't accept it, and they caused a scene with the Trenton family, demanding compensation. But the Trenton family had many children, and the scandal between Ethan and Lily had already tarnished their reputation, so they refused to pay compensation. They handed Ethan over to the law. After hearing this, I truly felt regretful. But the coldness of the Trenton family was something I had already experienced in my past life. When I had a serious accident while pregnant and couldn't contact Ethan, calling the Trenton family only resulted in the response, "Handle it yourself." I didn't say anything more. "Your lover's here." My friend winked at me. I looked up and saw William standing not far away, smiling at me. I stood up and walked toward him, naturally wrapping my arm around his. "It's not the weekend, why are you here?" William gently brushed my hair and said, "I missed you, so I came." I smiled. I'm very happy with that answer. Aside from William, I've known Vicky since she was 5 and I was 8. My mother told me that Vicky was the little bride she found for me, and we would get married in the future. At that time, I wasn't happy. How could I marry someone I'd never met? I didn't want to go, but being so young, I couldn't oppose my parents, so I was dragged to Vicky's house. When I first met her, she cried uncontrollably, her nose and eyes running with tears. I really didn't like it. The moment she saw me, she stopped crying, and before I could react, she ran over and hugged my leg, shouting, "You're handsome." Then, she wiped her nose on me. It was awful, and at that moment, I just wanted to throw her out. But Aunt Mike quickly pulled her away. My mother couldn't stop laughing. I was very unhappy that day, especially thinking about how my mom wanted me to marry her. It only made me more irritated. That day, I wanted to leave, but my mom had to stay at the Mike house for a while. Since then, I always had a crowd following me. Every morning, at dawn, she would climb into my bed, waking me up to play. Every night, she would climb into my bed again, calling me to sleep with her. I was so annoyed by her, but she was also quite cute. There were times I wanted to make her cry so she wouldn't dare come near me again, but when I looked into her sparkling eyes, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Oh well, I didn't want to argue with a child. On the day I was leaving, Mike took my hand, sneaking out of the Mike house, leading me to a river nearby. She said she saw many small fish in the river and wanted to catch some to give me as a farewell gift. I felt unsafe and was about to take her back when she moved too quickly, and accidentally fell into the river. I panicked, not thinking, and jumped in to pull her out. But I was small, and after pushing her to the riverbank, I was swept away by the current. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in the hospital. My mother was crying endlessly, and my father asked why I was playing near the riverbank. I thought for a moment and answered, I wanted to catch small fish, so I took Mike to go. Right then, I was punished with dozens of lashes from my father's belt and stayed in bed for nearly a month before I could walk again. At that time, I really resented Mike. I swore that when I grew up and married her, I would bully her to pay back for everything. But, when I grew up, Mike had forgotten about me. When my mother came to ask for her hand in marriage, she refused because she had never met me and didn't want to be engaged to a stranger. At that moment, I felt like the world had collapsed. I found out that she had already fallen for another guy. Well, that's good. No more following me around and making me uncomfortable. Later on, when I went on a business trip to New York and visited a friend in the hospital, I saw a bloodied person being rushed into the morgue. A quick glance, and I recognized her, Mike. She had been in a car accident while pregnant, lost a lot of blood, and her husband was overseas with his mistress. At that moment, my eyes welled up, and all I could think was, I'll make Ethan pay. And I did, until I woke up again, carrying the memories of the past life. I was given a second chance. I returned to the time before she got married, and everything was still fixable. She married, but unlike in my previous life, she wasn't just waiting passively. When I decided to take the initiative, I received a response. Mike agreed. I knew then, I wasn't the only one who was reborn.